The following video was recorded on location in my state-of-the-art office in the corner of my first floor apartment. If you like what you're about to hear, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell in the upper right corner. Awesome. Well, this is awesome to be able to do this. Thank you guys for taking the time to do this interview.
Thank you, man. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, I'm thankful that you guys were able to take the time to do this. I mean, with everything that's been going on with Witherfall right now, and of course the exciting new news about you guys now being signed to Century Media, I mean, I'm glad to see all of this great stuff happening for the band right now.
Yeah, I mean,
Go ahead, Joseph.
we're really excited. We got, they're going to be doing a re-release of Nocturnes Requiems, and we have a new record in the can too that we're excited about. But they're doing a couple of special vinyl editions of that record. They're going to re-release it outside the U.S.
Yeah, it'll be re-released in Europe, and there's a couple of special editions. I think they're having it's a green vinyl, I think, a gold vinyl, and there's one more.
They're doing it's all the digipacks with the vinyl, and all the CDs, all the foreigns are going to have like some limited edition stickers included in there.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I mean, it's awesome to see with this album, which I've already been loving so much this year, easily one of my favorite albums of the year. It's great to see it's getting represented in an even bigger form of Century Media, and then with you guys already having another album in the can and being able to work with Century Media to be able to promote that next album. I mean, it's just so cool to see.
Yeah, thanks, though. Yeah, we're excited now. We're definitely excited with the partnership with Century Media. The main artist rep there reached out to us in March, and we really just really like the guy, and he's all about, he's really into the band. That was the main selling point for us, that we wanted to have a team behind us that, Joseph and I eat, sleep, and breathe Witherfall. 24 hours a day. So we wanted someone that was going to be a partner on this as well, that felt the same way. And Philip at Century Media was really he really made it clear that was what he was going to be. So we're really looking forward to see what they can do with records. It's going to be cool to have it be pushed out and overseas too, in the European market.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely going to help out a lot. I mean, there's already been such a great reception, at least from what I've seen with the debut album so far. I mean, when it originally came out, and with the power and backing of Century Media being able to reach all the places that it might not have hit before, or just getting people's attention just because of the moniker of Century Media. I mean, it's something that's definitely deserved.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. And that's exactly right. We, like Jake said, we put in so much work. I mean, I don't think for maybe the 90 days, like 30 days before and 60 days after that record was released, we did not sleep. We had to wear many hats, and Jake was on tour with Ice Earth for part of it, so as soon as he's off the stage, he's calling me from wherever the fuck he was, and it was crazy, and I'm glad that we were able to find a company that seems to actually give a shit about music. They were really excited about the music. All the other stuff was just peripheral.
Yeah, and I think that's very important when it comes to finding the right label to be a part of. I mean, of course, in 2017, I mean, there's so much that goes into being a part of a label rather than just enjoying the music, but there's so many different aspects that go into it. But when a label's reaching out to you and actually legitimately enjoys the music that you're performing, I mean, yeah, there's no greater feeling than that, rather than just seeing the band as a paycheck or just a name to add to the roster, but someone that they actually want to be able to promote and cover, and it's great to see that with Witherfall.
I think that was one of the main reasons why I really wanted to go with Century. They also, their past roster of band too, a lot of those guys were influenced on us, so it's cool, just from a personal standpoint, be able to say oh yeah, we're on the same label, that had bands like Nevermore and
right.
Of course Ice Earth and stuff like that's been on there for a while, so it's really cool, man. And we're super stoked about working with them.
Oh yes, and just being able to get the re-release of the debut album out there. I mean, not just from a fan standpoint, but also from one of my nearest and dearest friends that I've ever made in my entire life, Adam Sagan, being a part of that debut album. I mean, it was great to be able to hear those last final recordings of his, being able to get into a debut album in 2017 and just show the world what he was capable of.
It is, yeah. I think that was one of the coolest things about that record. Is it is like the last known. I believe it is the last recording that Adam ever did.
Yeah.
And he killed it. I mean, he really. I'm blown away each time I listen to that and how his playing was. And the one thing that Joseph and I really liked about Adam was that it wasn't even just like his technical ability, but the way he would compose his drum part. It really helped with all the rest, helped with the flow of the song. They were composed. It wasn't just like he's like, hey, the beat works right behind it. He really took a long time to make sure that what he was doing fit for the song perfectly, as well as got his ego stroked a little bit, but throwing in some stuff. But he was, it really is really cool, man. That
he was a total musician. When Jake and I flew up there to do some of the final pre-production. We did like 3 days straight. We did like 8 hours in this tiny rehearsal room, just ironing out arrangements. And then right after that, we would be in his living room working out all of like tempo maps and stuff. And it's like, those must have been like 20-hour days.
Oh yeah, they were, man. That was just for getting the pre-production done. And Adam was all there for it, man. He loved it too. We all love it. So he was right there with us, and we were having a good time trying to get all these songs down and mapped out.
Adam was having a little too much fun with the marijuana, but he would be focusing on like 3/16 notes for 2 hours, and then he would turn over to you like, wait, what were we listening to?
Fun times, man. But one of my favorite stories about Adam during that record, man, was the song "Into Time." There's that whole kind of instrumental section in the beginning, and we had not told Adam that we were doing this section. So, he had got done. It was like I think he had 3 full days to cut all the drum track in Arizona
on a rented
kit. Record. Yeah, and the very last day, it was probably about 2 hours before he needed to go to the airport, fly back home, and we're like, hey, we got one more thing for you to do, and we presented this giant instrumental section, and I had no idea what the drums were do for it, but Adam came in there, he listened to it maybe 3 times, and just knocked it out, and it was exactly what it needed, exactly what we heard in our head. So that's just one of the many great things Adam contributed to the record.
Yeah, it's a shame he didn't even get to see it released.
Yeah, and it really hit home with me too, because he was there for me in so many different ways through my career, whether it was for my own drumming or what I do as that drummer guy, being able to interview bands, or on personal matters like dealing with depression and stuff. He would call me all the time, even through his last weeks. He was just calling to check up on me, just to make sure that I was doing okay mentally, even though with all the struggles that he was going through. So, it's great to see again, the fact that he was able to get one last album out there, and some of my favorite playing that he's ever done is on this album. And it's great to see that you guys were able to still continue on with everything, and already with a new album in mind already with Century Media. I mean, it's great to see that you were able to have someone like Adam being able to help out so much with the band, and then being able to progress past that as well.
Yeah, it's been, he did a lot of contribution to the first, he even named the first record Nocturnes Requiems. It happened like a year before he even found out, or maybe about 10 months or so before he actually found out he had cancer. We were at the NAMM show, and we were bouncing around ideas for what the album should have been, the title of the album, and he was the one that came up with Nocturnes Requiems, kind of just a weird, eerie thing. And he contributed in tons of ways, and even more so, he was always trying to get us. I remember actually him saying, in some writing, I got our first interview set up, and I believe it was going to be with you. No one even knows the record's coming out, he was gung ho about it, man. But I clearly remember that one email that he was sending about, I got an interview with that drummer guy. Adam, we have nothing to promote right now.
I know. He was trying to get us on a prog power before we even had a record out, dude.
Yeah, he was great, man, and he's missed, in so many different ways. It's not even like from a musical perspective, but he had so many people out, that cared about him. And it's real tragedy, man, of kind of what happened. And from us personally, we're really bummed that he wasn't able to, to see the praise for the record, because it's done pretty well, man. We've gotten a lot of really good reviews, and a lot of great things were said about Adam. So that's kind of a big shame in it.
Yeah, I mean, I try to look at it in the best light possible, where it's like, it is some of my favorite drumming that he's ever done in his life, and it's great to see that actually did come to fruition. Like, he was able to get all of his tracks done and completed for this album, rather than having it feel like it just had to be a demo or something. It was like a full-fledged album that he was able to be a part of, and it was a real shame that I was not able to talk to Adam about the album, because I would have loved to have been able to get his insight on everything about it too, you know, just from the drumming aspect of everything. But being able to talk to you guys and seeing that Adam left such a great impression on you guys, and like it keeping the power of going everything going and going on with the next album, and you know, like, again, I can't say it enough that it's so cool to see you guys in this position right now with Century Media, and already focusing on the next album and the future of the band. And he was already gung-ho like that in the beginning, like you were just saying, like trying to line up an interview with me and then getting on the Prog Power. So it's cool to see that you guys are thinking that far ahead already.
Oh yeah, man. We always got something in mind, man. We have a really cool dedication thing to Adam on the next record.
The whole new record is about, or at least, yeah. It's the next record is pretty somber. It's all about. But Adam has like a 4-part like mini suite of songs on here that are just, I mean, they're gloomy.
It's funny that you mentioned, man, about trying to get an interview with Adam, because that would have been really cool, actually, to hear his perspective, you know.
Right.
Everyone's from Joseph and I, so I don't know, maybe you can, like, you know, get a Ouija board out or something. Talk to Adam interview him from Beyond the Dead. I'm sure he'd be into it.
I know that definitely be his style.
I think Adam liked everything on the record except he missed a piccolo there. There was one when we were mixing the record. There was one song. It was in Portrait, and there was like a piccolo snare that was replaced, and it was just replaced with just the regular snare sound. I remember Adam just the emails getting back with, you know, caps lock, tons of exclamation marks. Where is my piccolo snare? So he was. I mean, we all know Adam. He was a very quirky dude, but that was just one of his.
What was the quote? You know? What was the quote? It was like, gentlemen, this is a piccolo snare.
Yeah, it was like, you know, 358. You know, gentlemen, this is a piccolo snare. You know, where the hell is it? Oh man, yeah, Adam.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So, with all this in mind, I mean, with the re-release of the debut, already working on the next album, how are you guys looking to approach getting past Adam drumming-wise? I mean, what would you like the drums to be able to accomplish for the next album?
Jake, you go first on that one.
I think I'd like the drums to kind of take off where Adam did. I think Adam wrote just fantastic. I think Adam wrote the perfect parts for Nocturnes and Requiems. So that's the main thing, man. That when we're looking at drummers, you know, we're looking at drummers right now, is that 50% of it is going to be the writing, because Adam brought in such a. That was one of his huge contributions to the band, was the stuff that he wrote. The record wouldn't sound the same if there were different drum patterns, you know. So that's one thing that we're really looking forward to. Not looking forward to, actually, it sucks. It's trying to find a drummer
for a year. I mean, yeah, it's been sucking. I mean, there's a reason why we haven't made an announcement yet. But we're close. We're really close. And
we're close to narrowing down the guys. We have a few guys in mind, man, that we're. Yeah. We definitely.
It's tough because, I mean, here's the thing. Like, Jake and I, and this is one of our biggest hurdles, is our standards are fucking up there, and we're hard on ourselves. But we're not just gonna grab, you know, some 4 on the floor like Lombardo, or you know what I mean. Like we want someone that's going to sit there and meticulously write out their part, like the Mickey D, like King Diamond era, like Portnoy, you know what I mean? Like that type of like orchestrated drum part. Like that's what we're looking for. We're not just looking for someone that comes in, listens to the riff once, and then goes, "Oh, okay, I got it. Bam, 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 bam."
Yeah, this works.
You know,
like yeah, the drum part. It basically, to answer your question, we need someone like Adam. You know,
yeah.
Adam, one of those guys that would sit there and you know, I remember when we were doing pre-production stuff, there would be a riff and he would just like just loop it, you know, loop it for 15 minutes, and he'd sit there and, you know, maybe have an edible or something like that, zone in on it. then think about it and play it, and then he'd chart it out. I mean, it was funny. I always really liked looking out. He'd have his on his floor tom would be like a notepad, and it would be, you know, just his little notes that he would make for a section. You know, he'd call it like, I think, the Rosciato section or something like that, or he'd call it, you know, Opethy death metal.
We should send Josh. We'll send you the notes that we did at that session, because Adam had the best handwriting, so we let him like actually write down all the tempos that we figured out.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he had the craziest like descriptors for all the different sections. Like, what was the one? 19 as fuck. Like there was
19 as fuck. Yeah.
There was one section of like 1916 time.
Yeah, it was like a time signature of 1916. It was like one, you know, a 16th note was added into the section. And
yeah.
I just remember Adam he's like, hey, guys, I got it. Here, it's 19 and fuck. Oh, man, we could go on and on, man, about we had so many. As you know, like in a band, it's all about, it's really, most of the way you communicate is all through inside jokes. So it's like, I'm sure most of the listeners right now are, you know, scratching their heads like, what the hell are these guys talking about? So, but yeah, to answer your question, man, we need a guy like Adam. Adam was a perfect fit for this band, man. Just all the way around.
Oh, absolutely. To go a little bit different here, Jake, of course, mentioned earlier before, you are now a part of one of my favorite bands of all time, Iced Earth, and been able to do some amazing touring this year. How has working with Iced Earth affected your work with Witherfall as far as like songwriting or what you want to do with the band?
Not really songwriting wise. I like to think of like Iced Earth and Witherfall as they're two separate entities to me. Like it's a completely different style of, you know, although it's like metal guitar playing, but to me it's a totally different mind frame. You know, that's Schaefer's band, so it's like I just kind of go in there and the icing on the cake, you know, with the leads. Whereas Witherfall, it's like Joseph and I are the Schaefers of the band, I suppose. You know, it's our babies. So it's a totally different mindset. But touring with those guys has, you know, helped me see what a band like that, what it requires to become a band like, you know, that is legendary like Iced Earth. So it's more of a realm of that, seeing how things are run, seeing how things shouldn't be run, you know, trying to learn from other people's mistakes. So that's kind of more where the Iced Earth education comes into play. You know, I always liked Iced Earth's music, and sure, some certain parts that Schaefer came up, he's a brilliant rhythm guitar player, so I'm sure it's going to make a little bit of its way into the next record, but so far it hasn't really been like a calculated thing where it's like, oh, it's fun to make this sound like Iced Earth.
Oh yeah, I can totally see that too. I just mean like, you know, being a part of a band that's as legendary as Iced Earth, I mean, being able to go out and do the summer festival circuits and the upcoming touring and everything that comes with that, you know, just like getting the inside of like what really goes on with a band of that kind of stature and being able to approach that when it comes to your playing as well, like what you want to do, what you don't want to do, and stuff like that.
Yeah, it is, man. I mean, it's one of those things where you kind of know with, we just got done doing all those summer festivals, and it was actually my first time actually ever really doing that type of festival run, and it was some of the most brutal traveling. I think anyone could tell you, any of the bands that have done the festivals, is, you know, you're constantly flying in, flying out. It's like 12-hour travel days, and you're going up there and having to put the monkey suit on and go up there and dance around with a bunch of people, you know? So it can be exhausting, man, but it's, I'm sorry, what exactly was your question, though? I'm sorry, man, I missed it.
Oh, no, I wasn't really asking a question, but, you know, just like, you know, the idea of like all the behind-the-scenes stuff about what goes into a band, like when you get to join a band like Iced Earth and being able to see how people who have been in the business for decades upon decades, like John Schaefer and company, and being able to see how you'd want to approach things when it comes to Witherfall.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I have learned a lot from that, because I've seen those guys have also, like Schaefer's probably, he's done everything there probably can be to do in the music business as far as contracts. I mean, he was one of the main ones when it came down to Century Media. He was telling me, look, you got to make a contract that's not a slavery deal. Like, make sure you have all your publishing. Make sure, you know, just make sure you really read this up and get an attorney to look at it, and just make sure you're not signing anything. Because that was one of the things he was telling me, that, you know, a lot of these labels, they kind of, they'll go after young bands and present them a record contract, and they all get, you know, starry-eyed and are like, oh, this is fantastic, but then it's really just a horrible deal where you'll never be able to get yourself out of it, and you'll never make anything from it. So that's one thing that Schaefer has really taught me. I've learned a lot of the stuff too, is just kind of how to make an operation work. You almost have to be strict. You have to be very strict because otherwise people start slacking off. And that's one thing that we try to take into this band is like be really cool, but hey, if you're gonna get fucked up, the next night, make sure you gotta puke at a JCPenney parking lot. Make sure you show up to your so, it's a little nod to another band currently. But yeah, I mean, it's really just, I mean, Iced Earth it's a legendary act. So I look at that stuff and I try to figure out, hey, John's done something right. So definitely take his advice in, man. He's a really good mentor in a lot of sense, and I feel honored that he's actually kind of taking me under his wing on some of this stuff.
Oh, very much so. And it's really great to see someone like you being able to get into this kind of position like Iced Earth and being able to tour the world with Iced Earth, hitting up the summer festival circuits, and also being able to have your own band as well. I mean, with what you guys have done with Witherfall and what I know you guys are going to be able to accomplish from here on out, it's great to be able to have all those different experiences going on, and of course with the promotion of being in a band like Iced Earth, being able to hopefully have that carry over in the Witherfall and just make it just this gigantic entity it deserves to be.
That's the goal, man. That's what I think about 24/7 a day, 365. That's what we've been trying to fight for, man. We've been, we started this band in on an English coast actually in 2013, and that was so. It's been a big battle, man. Even just getting Nocturnes and Requiems out, man. It seems like everything that we've been trying to do with it has been an uphill battle, and this isn't a woe is us kind of deal, but just to get things that are, like Joseph was saying, we have such a high standard for what we want to get, what we want this to be. So it's been an uphill battle a lot of the way, and we even had we had a casualty into it too, man, Sagan. So it's been an uphill climb, man. But we're we're gonna do whatever it takes. There's just no other option, man. Like we got to do it. We're already this far into it.
Yeah, and again, like I've mentioned before, it's such a great thing to be able to see Century Media wanting to take you under their wing rather than just looking at you for a paycheck or to cash in on it. I mean, just like being able to see the vision of what you guys want to do with the band and being able to make that flourish out more. And now with all of the personal tragedy that's gone on within the band, all these different experiences since forming the band, I mean, when everything really starts to pick up with the next album, I mean, I can, like you mentioned before, with the lyrical themes that are going on with the album so far, I mean, it's great to see that you guys are able to keep the vision of Witherfall, but being able to use all the inspiration that's happened, good and bad, and make it an even more personal album and a much more relatable album as well.
Yeah, the writing is always personal. We're constantly working on material, and the thing is we're not, I mean, speaking for myself, I'm not the kind of guy that sits at a desk and writes. I go out and I do things for better or worse, and then come back with that. I mean, sometimes you get to talk about stuff like deaths and friends leaving or all that kind of regular life stuff that ordinary people deal with, but for the most part, all the songs are born out of experiences that are a little irregular and a little extra, not based on experiences that most normal people would have. I mean, I guess that's the difference between a band like us and a band like, say, Dream Theater. A lot of their stuff is really emotional and internal.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense too. I mean, sometimes it does take those personal aspects and just getting that real connection to an album. I mean, if things hopefully pick up the way that they do with the band, being able to launch things even farther with the backing of Century Media. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily want you guys to start going in a pop rock route because things are finally starting to go better for you guys. It's I want you guys to be able to keep your integrity and write the music that you want to play. But if it does come out a little more positive in the future, I can totally understand that.
Well, I don't see that happening, honestly. the thing is that Jake and I basically sit there together, and whatever the hell we've been dreaming up, we throw at each other, and then our melodic tendencies and our themes start to mesh, and we'll sit there from 5 in the afternoon till 7 in the morning drinking and writing like 3 days in a row, and that's how we get our stuff done. Like this new record has, like I said, the Sagan suite, the Sagan Death Suite, and it's like 4 songs, and it's probably like 35 minutes long.
Yeah, it's the problem. Century Media is going to get this back and be like, why did this guy pan this record with 4 14-minute long songs on it? Because their count's not going to be this.
Well, there's also like 6 other songs, but yeah, like we just write whatever the fuck we hear in our heads. Like, we're not trying to do anything. Like, there's nothing on Nocturnes and Requiems that was contrived or like, you know, like there was no conspiracy to be the next, you know, name your favorite prog whatever band. It's, you know, like a song like Great Awakening was an accident. Jake just happened to call me up like after I was done with a show, and he's like, I have the thing, and he showed it to me, and we had a song in like 30 minutes.
Yeah, and we're also not one of those bands either where when we sit down to write, we're like, okay, we're going to write, you know, here's the hit for the record. We're going to write a 3-minute, 30-second song, and that's what we're going to do. It's like, maybe with the idea, we'll be like, okay, well, let's maybe do like a ballad type thing. But then, you know, wherever that song takes us, we're not afraid to go down any of those paths, and we'll try out everything, you know? So it's like, you know, the song can maybe start out as a song that we're like, well, maybe this isn't going to be such a big epic, but then we put maybe a bridge in there, and it's like, all right, well, this has opened up Pandora's box for where we could take this song, and most of the time we go down, you know, the rabbit hole and explore all options, and that's how you start getting some of the crazy songs. But this is, we write whatever we want to hear. We don't put down, there are no rules at all, as far as like no boundaries, and that was kind of how the whole band was formed. We wanted to be in a band where it was, you know, there were no boundaries at all. Kind of like how Zeppelin was, you know, Zeppelin came out as a rock band. Yeah, Zeppelin, Queen, and then all of a sudden some of their records, you know, you listen to it and each song sounds totally different, you know. I'm not a big fan of records when I put them on. It's the same song, you know.
Right, same production, same song, same dynamic. Yeah, like the whole thing that you see in the media nowadays is totally disgusting, where you hear a band talking about going in a clean vocal direction or some dumb shit like that. It's like, okay, so this was like some act that you're putting on. Like this was just so you could get signed to, you know, insert record label name here, because they only sign bands with like death growls. And it's like, dude, okay, you're not writing music at that point, you know, you're just creating a product to put on a shelf.
Exactly, and you can hear it, man. I think, like, that's the one thing. I can tell when a band is there just like, oh, we're going to write a thrash song because that's a hit thing right now. And it doesn't sound, you know, it's like those guys they don't believe it, you know. It's not in their heart, it's not in their soul.
Well, that's why, like, a band like Metallica got so big, is because they weren't pandering. They just did what they did, and when they wanted to do something else, they fucking did it, you know? Like, and then you get the negative reactions, but there's so much more positive because it's real, and people will latch onto it. It's the people with the negative reactions that aren't real music fans, I think. Those are the people that are scene kids. Like, they just want to see the outfits, and they want to hear a specific sound. They don't care about music.
It's also like, you know, going back to a record that's just monochromatic, you know? It's like, it's the equivalent of eating steak every single night. Like, yeah, you know, it's cool once in a while, but why do I want to eat the same thing every single day? You know, it spices up a little bit, and that's kind of how I view music in a sense. Like,
you're being too generous. Steak, no, it's like macaroni and cheese because you can't cook anything else. That's really what it's like. you don't do clean vocals? Oh, that's because you can't. That's why you don't have clean vocals. Unless you're in Cannibal Corpse. You know what I mean? Like, if you're in Cannibal Corpse, you're not going to hear, like, you know, Geoff Tate sounding vocals anywhere on that record, and I get that. But, you know, it's just gone too far.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more with that. I mean, like, I get so much music sent to me year after year, and there are so many albums and so many bands that are just, like, trying to either set the new trend or latch onto the current trend, rather than just focusing on the music that they want to make. You know, like, the music actually means something to them. And that's why I latch onto a band like Witherfall, where I can tell that you guys are all in it for the right reasons. You want to make the music that you want to make. You guys know what you're doing. I mean, of course there's hardships and tribulations along the way, but you know what the end game of what you want to do is, and being able to expand upon that in the future. And rather than just like trying to get like the lowest tuning possible or the deepest death growls or something like that, you're just making the music you want to make. And I always choose authenticity over what just sounds the coolest. I mean, I want the music to actually mean something to me as someone who wants to go out and promote music, and someone who just wants to kick back one night and put on some good music like Witherfall.
I think you said it best, man. I think it's all about being true to yourself and being authentic, you know? If you yourself like it, you know, that's the main thing. That's always, I think when Joseph and I are writing songs, that's how we kind of, you know, we're like, hey, if we were to hear this, like, would we like it? Let's put aside the fact that we wrote it, but if this was on, would we be like, hey, it's pretty cool? You know, and that's usually the best way to censor ourselves. You know, if it's like, I don't know, you know, it sounds a little bit too much here, or it's just all about being true and authentic, because if I like it, you know, that's really all that matters, man. That's kind of just like the selfish way of doing it, but we're making this music for us, you know? We're not making it for other people.
We're also we're not writing program music. Like, we're not writing background music for you to listen to on your earbuds while you're doing your homework, or so you can slam dance in a mosh pit. We're trying to write, well, we're not trying, we're writing songs. We want you to actually sit there and listen.
That was kind of the thing with Nocturnes Requiems too, is that we wanted to bring back that experience of like Pink Floyd, you know, like getting high and putting on some headphones and listening to Dark Side or Animal. It was an experience, you know. One of the things where I don't know if records are like that anymore. They're more just like
flat,
you know.
Yeah,
it's not
flat,
like
two-dimensional product.
Yeah, I want it to be like when you put on a record, you'd be in an event, you know. It's like the equivalent of, and it's entertainment, you know. It's not background music, it's entertainment. You're listening to it to have an experience.
Yeah, and that just goes back to what I was saying before too, you know, about the authenticity. I mean, with so many bands that are out there that they put out a full album and you can definitely tell their heart is not into it, whether they feel like they put themselves in a corner and they just have to consistently write the same style of music so they don't have to quit being in a band, or they feel a lot of pressure from the label to go into a different direction because that's what's selling right now. It's really, really hard to find an authentic album from start to finish where you can tell every single song, every single interlude, every single note matters to the song and to the lyrics and what the band was going for. And again, you know, that's why the debut album, which of course is getting re-released now through Century Media, like means so much to me personally, knowing Adam personally, and with all the dark stuff that's happened with that. But you can tell that when everything was still good, like when the band was writing the album, at least I can tell this from a fan perspective, that I could tell that you guys were all in it for the right reasons with the album, and you were writing the music that you wanted to play, and you wanted it to be an actual album rather than just like some songs and some filler and other stuff like that.
100%, man. Yeah, that was always our goal, was to, you know, I think we wanted to have a band that was pretty much all, you know, incorporating a bunch of different ideas with no boundaries, and that's kind of what, and really, like with Nocturnes and Requiems, it wasn't even really like some of those interlude sections. They just happened naturally. It'd be like, you know, we'd be tracking the record, and it's like these chords, you know, something like an effect that we were using is really cool. And we're like, hey, you know what would be pretty awesome right now? Let's do, you know, what if we had like an interlude into this song? And all that stuff kind of happened in the studio. And it's exciting times when those do happen, because that's real magic in the air, you know, and everybody kind of gets excited about it. And it just wasn't even really thought about too much. It's just, we felt it. We're like, yeah, we're going to do this. And it's totally authentic, man. There was nothing, and that's one of the things I think that, you know, people can say whatever they want to about the record if they don't like it, but anybody that says that it's not authentic is they're wrong. Because we were there making it. There was nothing that was like, oh, we're going to do this so it can get on the radio or any shit like that. No way.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And that's what makes me very excited about the next album from Witherfall, because I know all the trials and tribulations of being in a band and just getting that first album out there, let alone being able to get to the next album, being able to find the right label, start touring, everything that goes into that. I mean, there's so much negativity and bad stuff that can happen to a band to make it completely implode. And you guys have gone through a lot of stuff where other bands would have just cracked under the pressure and just abandoned the idea. And I can't commend you guys enough for being able to stay strong and be able to have this great focus. I mean, with everything that's been going on right now, being able to find an amazing label like Century Media, being able to go and find the full-fledged lineup to make it a recording lineup, and being able to keep focusing on the band for the future. I mean, with all of these experiences on there, if you're able to make it through here like this with that authenticity, I can only imagine that you guys are going to be able to do that through the rest of the band's career.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks, Josh, for saying that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's definitely our goal, man. Like I said, I don't think we can. I just don't think our personalities would allow us. Once we started becoming, like, you know, not us, there's just no way, because we're just going to do what we want to do. You know, it's like if a label were to say to us, "Hey, you guys need to start making songs that are a little more happy and upbeat, no more of this death crap," you know, we'd figure out some way how we could get out of the contract. You know.
Yeah, well, we have 100% creative control in our contract.
Yeah.
So that was one of the big selling points for us to go with Century Media and to deal with Philip over there. He was totally on board with the way we work and what we want to do, and he was open to like even bring some of the way we work, you know, into what they want to do with the record.
It's all about, and we have that was one of the other things, is that it's real quality. You know, we have such a quality control aspect, and we know Century is, I could make some stupid remark about quality in metal, but the saying is, but they produce quality product too, you know, like all their vinyls and everything like that. Like the Iced Earth one that just came out looks really good, you know. They make good product. They themselves have a good eye for putting out decent product. So that was also another big concern for us. We, you know, anybody that's gonna, you know, spend money to listen to our stuff, we want them to have a cool product that they, you know, they're happy about, and that's just going back more to some of the old school stuff that we're into, man. We're into vinyl. We like the idea of having something physical in your hand, having killer artwork too, you know.
Well, I mean, dude, the artwork, that's a 3 foot by 3 foot painting, oil on canvas. That's not just like some, you know, nonsense in Adobe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Christian did that.
Yeah, we wanted the whole experience you get, you know, like back in the day, and you'd pick up the CD or the LP, and the first thing that grabs you is the album cover, you know, and it kind of sucks you into that world. And I think, you know, that Christian's work on it is perfect. It does exactly what it needs to, because when I look at that cover, I just like, wow, what the fuck does this record sound like, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know, like that's almost seems to be like a lost art form. No pun intended there. You know, like being able to like show off that album cover. I mean, like it's so easy to just go on the internet, look at any streaming site or YouTube or whatever the case is, and be able to check out a band and pretty much their entire catalog before you ever go out and purchase an album from said band, you know. But like back in the day when people went back to the record store and they were able to just look at all these cool album covers and being able to see like, oh yeah, that's really cool, I want to be able to check that out. And when you weren't necessarily able to like sample everything to see if it was for you or not, you know, it's just like you went off of that packaging, you went off of what the look of what that was. And most of the time when you were able to match up that quality of artwork and manufacturing and that physical product, you were able to get some good music when you put that time into it.
You know what? Like you're 100% correct, and I think something really got lost when it got to the point where you have basically on your computer or your phone like your own personal radio station. So instead of like going and, you know, popping in a CD that you've never heard and letting it take you, you know, because that's what art is supposed to be. It's about the artist like leading you where they want you to go. Nowadays, everything is so self-driven, where you go on Spotify, and if the song doesn't fit your mood in that moment, you can just hit skip next, or go to some playlist where all the songs sound the same. And like, I don't want to be one of those people that says, you know, this is what's wrong with the world, but I mean, like, where do you get out of yourself if you're directing every single emotional response that you're going to have today? Like, music, I mean, at least for me, was such a huge part of like forming who I am, you know, as a person. Like, I don't understand how these kids are supposed to, you know, actually become interesting individuals. You know,
it's in, like you said too, man, like artwork it's becoming a lost form, because everything is becoming, I mean, dude, there's not even, you're lucky sometimes if you even get a physical product anymore. Most of the time you're going straight to your phones or something like that, and you know, the artwork is suffering. I mean, there's so many people that are doing shit in Photoshop, and I mean, man, some of the best experiences I have were going to record stores, and like the way I found Kiss, like Destroyer. I picked up that album cover when I was a kid. I'm like, who are these? What is this? What am I looking at? Like, who is this demon got his tongue out at me? And it's like,
I did that same thing in Toronto.
You know,
I found that same record the same way.
Yeah, and so you look at it and you're like, well, this looks interesting, but you know, I want to hear it. So you buy it and you go back home and you have no idea what it's like, and you put it on, and then you know, that's the experience that I have now. Whereas nowadays, I don't even know if you would be able to even have an experience quite like that, because it would just be, you know, on iTunes, Kiss Destroyer. You're like, who cares? You know,
right?
This doesn't. I'm not intrigued by this right now. So it's sad, man. It's one of those things, but you know, you can't do anything about it. But hopefully, you know, there's a lot of those record stores that are still out there, man, and that's why it is, man. I think that's one thing that we'll always try to do, man. It's have a killer packaging with it, you know, killer artwork. It totally, to me, adds to the experience. You know, being able to sit there and listen to the record and just get lost in the album artwork, you know, as it's playing. It's some of my favorite moments, man.
Yeah, without question. And I feel that same way too. You know, it's just like the whole experience on there. I mean, you know, from like cover to cover, the lyric sheets, promo pictures, you know, like the songs, the lyrics, everything that goes into an album like matters so much. And there are a lot of people out there who just like want to focus on a hit song. They don't want to listen to a song after X amount of minutes length or something like that. But there is always going to be that core fan base that truly does care about music in general, and being able to get an album and be able to check it out from start to finish, check out the liner notes on everything, explore the band, see if they have any other projects that the band members are a part of, and being able to really care about the band and the music that's going on and really appreciate the art for what it is. And I always try to be one of those guys, and that's what I really love about your guys' aspect with Witherfall, is keeping that spirit alive, you know, making the album artwork matter, making the lyrics really mean something, make the instrumentation have a reason for it, rather than just like showing off as many notes as you can possibly play just to show off in front of everybody. Like, everything that you guys do has a reason and a purpose behind it, and it's so cool to be able to help with Century Media, being able to re-release a debut album with Adam Sagan doing his amazing drums on it, and what you guys have going on in the future with the next album, and when you guys finally be able to get out and start touring and really showing off everything that you guys are capable of. I mean, as long as you guys keep this mindset in mind, I can't imagine you guys ever failing in my eyes, because you guys are staying true and authentic, and that's what I really want in a band.
Oh, thanks so much, man. I mean, we really appreciate it, man. We really appreciate you having us on this interview. And again, man, it really sucked Adam couldn't be a part of this, man, because I think, you know, that's a true story, man. He was really... I remember I was on my way to New Orleans when I got an email with Joseph and I CC'd saying, guys, I got an interview set up. And we're like, dude, what are you going to talk about? You know, we have nothing to show. So, yeah, it sucks, man. It would have been fantastic to have Adam here on a three-way conversation. And I guarantee you guys would have been talking severe shop on drums, and Joseph and I would have been not able to get one word in. but yeah, man. Again, thanks so much, man, for having us, man, and thanks for, you know, really checking out the record and seeing all the stuff that, you know, it feels good to have someone out there that appreciates you know, the time and stuff we put into it.
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, of course, I found out from the band, you know, like being friends with Adam, and like I know he was just so excited about being a part of a project like this. I mean, after like bands that he's been a part of not working out the way that he wanted to, being able to work on something like Witherfall, I know it really meant a lot to him. And, you know, just like hearing these experiences about how everything went with the first album cycle, and just like it with the production and the recording that went into it. I mean, it's great to see everything did go as well as I was hoping it would have from the outside looking in, and the fact that you guys are able to keep going, like I said before, because there are so many bands that would have just like gave up or tried to go in a different direction over the trials and tribulations of just being in a band, let alone any of the travesties that have come along the way. But, you know, the fact that you guys are able to still keep this going, and, you know, with it being so relatively young in your guys' band career with Witherfall, I mean, with everything that's going on here and just seeing everything starting to come up more and more, you know, by the time of the next album and when you guys finally are able to get that full lineup and being able to tour, I'm really hoping for the best for you guys, because you absolutely deserve it.
Thanks again, man. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, Josh.
We really do appreciate that, man. Yeah, thanks, Josh. Yeah, man. Again, we really appreciate all your support with it, man.
Oh, not a problem. Well, you know, I just got to thank you guys once again, you know, for taking all this time to talk about everything that's been going on with Witherfall right now. And of course, the re-release of the debut album from Witherfall, Nocturnes and Requiems, will be available through Century Media, and I definitely hope that people will go out and get it through Century Media, being able to show that you guys are such a great band, and being able to even show Century Media more of how much of a powerhouse you guys can be with the right promotion. And when that next album happens, the first official album to be through Century Media, and just like get that much more exposure and being able to show what you guys are capable of.
Thanks, man. I think that comes out October 6th, right, Joseph? In Europe?
October 6th.
Yeah, October 6th. And for people in the U.S., they can still get the record through us.
Yes.
But, you know, we definitely encourage you to go over to, I mean, you know, I think the shipping cost might be a little bit more, but Century's going to put out a really cool, you know, got some really cool products they're going to have with it, man, especially with those different colors.
Yeah, if fans in the U.S., they can go. There's a couple of outlets in Europe to get those limited edition versions over there. But yeah, the shipping costs might be a little high, but yeah, the record's still available on our website, as well as a new limited edition red vinyl that we're doing.
Yeah, we sold out. We had Adam Sagan clear vinyls that
we have
that
nothing.
We did. Yeah, they all sold out, man. So we're gonna do like a limited edition, you know, red wine
and Vino Veritas kind of deal.
Yeah. So we'll have that and a couple more T-shirt designs and stuff too that we just approved. So yeah, please buy our product.